You will think Saitama is the main character of One Punch Man. Not gonna lie, that's a pretty good analysis. However, us well-refined manga enjoyers know of a myth. There is a man who can't stop sleeping these freaking moronic heroes. Throughout the course of the Monster Association arc, the true manifestation of evil, Garou, steps up and almost takes that role as the main character. Like, dude literally has the most screen time out of every single other character by a long shot, even including Saitama and Genos put together. Unlike other people who you could probably just lump in the antagonist category, Garou doesn't really take that role until the latter end of this arc. He does absolutely brutalize some heroes and seems like more of a threat to them at points throughout the series than he does towards Saitama, but at the same time, it's not so evil that he won and then took their lives as sport afterwards. So here today to show that, we're going to sit back and relax as we experience the entire Monster Association arc from Garou's point of view, from his very first encounter with Saitama at the diner to his last with Bang. So of course, leave a like and subscribe if you are new around here, as it really helps out with pushing my content to a bunch of new amazing people. Kicking things back off inside of One Punch Man though, after he was saved at the end of season 2, Garou wakes up inside of the Monster Association, all beat up and bruised, until he stumbles outside to find a whole carnival of monsters. By the way, guess who all the monsters are going ham on? Well, it's Narinki's sad rescue team who's already caught, plus on top of them being just utterly weak, they're also cowards who are just crying for their lives. With all of the monsters gathered around them, their roars echo out and they scream, wanting to be fed. Impatient, one of them launches at the group, only to be sliced in half like a literal PB&J sandwich by the Ripper, who then instantly starts screaming out his own feelings on how he wants to torture each and every one of their soldiers personally. Yet, just like before him, he is interrupted by Super S, the lovely lady herself, who's adamant about making them her dirty little whip slaves. Nevertheless, Garou, who's kinda just been sneaking around, is soon spotted and brought to the spotlight. Standing there, he finally sees the dreaded demon Orochi, the massive, and when I say massive, I mean it, like this guy is literally the size of a few buildings. Both Orochi and his slimy number 1 Gyoro offer him a place in the Monster Association, even going as far as to offer him a spot among the strongest tier of monsters inside of his association. However, to be given this opportunity, he has to bring the head of a hero to prove his loyalty first. Taking all of this in, Garou decides to head out to do more hero hunting, and as he walks away, Gyoro sends both Ripper and Bug God to tail him. Outside and in the city, the general masses have completely and utterly lost it, and a cult of monster worshippers are already making their rounds, grabbing poor men who try to retaliate against them as an offering for the monsters. Feeling a bit of pity for these idiots giving up so quickly, Garou, who's now outside the Monster Association, just casually flicks them all off before heading into a diner and ordering the massive, super-sized set meal complete with thick steak and extra rice. Then also on top of that, as the lovely female waiter goes to leave, he orders everything else in the meat menu. Unknown to Garou though, the bald man himself, Saitama, is actually feasting at the same place and currently losing his mind when he realizes that he's left his wallet at home. As the bald hero oozes with sweat and wonders how he's going to pay for the meal, the voluptuous queen herself, Fubuki, sits down before him, blabbering as per usual. Seeing the perfect moment to enact his plan, Saitama slides his plate over to Fubuki, and as she munches down on the chips, she notices his devious smile. While she sits there thinking to herself, Baru is probably happy to work for her, a shriek of panic rings out, calling after a dying Dasher who's just sprinted off without pain. Of course, playing the hero to save his own behind in the situation, Saitama also rushes off, plastering the bell onto Fubuki in the process. Which is kinda funny, as Fubuki at this moment is still super adamant that Saitama actually wants to join her little old group. And obviously, he doesn't. Anyway, nevertheless, after Garou had scrambled out of the restaurant and made his way down the road, he notices a group of young bullies picking on the same Tario kid from earlier on. Having gone over and dispelled the bullies, the kid starts a pity shower and recounting how Garou's actually a good guy being attacked unfairly by all of the heroes around him. Annoyed, because he obviously thinks he's a monster at this point, Garou considers going demon mode and flicking the kid away to prove it. However, our bald king, who's been chasing him from back at the restaurant, finally catches up and arrives. Yet, it ain't exactly what you think, and due to the fact that Saitama also had no money and needed to ditch the diner, he hilariously lets him off on the thievery just this once, and forgives him for it, all without Garou ever turning his way, revealing who he actually is to Saitama. As the Cape Baldy then goes to leave, a now annoyed Garou turns and makes the dire mistake of fully confronting him. Obviously Garou at this point in the series, and probably still for a while like after this, doesn't actually have a clue who Saitama is, which is evident by the fact that Tario, who's with him, points out that he's not even inside the hero directory. Now walking towards the dull Saitama, who hasn't even turned around yet, Garou thinks on how it's not the worst that the Monster Association has looked down on him, but now he has some no-name, snotty brat taking pity on him for being too poor to pay for his meals. Reaffirming that he isn't with the Monster Association in his head, but will take their offer either way, he proceeds to walk up on Saitama, ready to blow him down with one strike. Grabbing the baldy's shoulder, the ever-evolving Garou appears to take out Saitama with one quick rage-filled strike. However, before he even has time to react, Saitama instinctively throws a backhand under the premise that he can't fight as he's a wanted man and can't be seen with him. Waking up in a panic, Tario asks him if he's okay, while telling him that the bald dude was freaking out over the fact that he may have just murdered a random before he quickly ran off. Emerging from the shadows behind him, the Bug God and Ripper, who had been watching all this time, decide that he isn't worthy to be called a monster or receive the powers after seeing him get defeated so easily by a random no-named caped baldy. Royal Ripper reveals that Gyoro had sent him and Bug God to follow and monitor Garou. After observing his behaviour, they now have doubts about Garou's true intent, questioning whether he's a true monster or not. Garou then proceeds to provoke Royal Ripper to little use, and the latter then demands the former to kill Tario. Garou then inquires about the reasoning behind the request, to which Bug God replies that one must leave behind what makes them human in order to qualify as a monster. Royal Ripper reaffirms the statement and continues, adding the fact that Garou might not be the best candidate after being defeated by Saitama. Garou then proceeds to tell Tario to go home, but he was unable to do so because of the fear coursing over the young child. Due to this, Tario is berated by Garou, who then slaps the hero catalogue out of his hand, saying that the boy needs to get stronger during times like these. While doing so, Royal Ripper attacks Tario, but the attack is quickly stopped by Garou, who hoisted Royal Ripper up into the air by his blades and swiftly delivered a kick to the opponent's abdomen. Royal Ripper then flies up into the air as a result of this, but is quick to get back to his feet by thrusting his blades onto the ground and performing a somersault with the two blades acting as an anchoring point. The move severely disfigures his arms, but Royal Ripper restores his limbs back to their original state by twisting them back. Garou then yells at Tario, telling him to run, with the boy complying as he is seen dashing away. As he is doing so though, Royal Ripper announces Garou to be an enemy, and Garou then assumes the stance as the two monsters begin charging at him. As the two monsters charged at Garou, the hero hunter manages to deliver a powerful punch towards the bug's torso. Unfortunately, this injures his own hand in the process. Royal Ripper then follows up and performs a chain of frenzied slashes aimed at Garou, but they're all dodged or reflected. As Garou is busy with Royal Ripper's chain of attacks, Bug God approaches him from behind, but is bombarded with a flurry of deflected slashes originating from Royal Ripper. The monster is undeterred by this as he quickly pounds Garou into the ground and then flings him onto some electrical cables which briefly electrocutes Garou. Garou immediately rebounds himself towards the monsters after this, as they leap towards him as well. The three then eventually enter a stalemate, with Garou now confident in his abilities to defeat his opponents. It then transpires though that Tario was actually captured by the sludge jellyfish. Garou is briefly distracted by this occurrence, so Royal Ripper takes the chance and brutally slashes him in the back, and Bug God also subsequently slashes him in the torso as well, ultimately being assailed with a series of slashes that leave him in a pool of blood on the ground. And between Garou's first battle here, Tario is taken to the Monster Association, and we are introduced to pretty much every cadre or demon level threat inside of the association as they get ready for the upcoming battle. Back up on the surface though, Garou awakens in the spot where he was abandoned and begins to move on. Garou, who's elsewhere in the city, makes his way towards the Monster Association's hideout, and as per usual is caught on Gyoro's psychic radar. Garou, who obviously thought he was dead, orders the other monsters to go and grab a hold of the intruder, allowing them to help themselves to a little bit of before battle feast to get themselves pumped up in their upcoming struggle. During the breakaway from Garou here, most of the heroes who were taking part in the initial raid on the Monster Association go over pretty much all of their plans. Making his own entrance first though, Garou breaks into the facility just in time to save Tario from Royal Ripper. Despite being stabbed in the gut by the monster, Garou simply punches Royal Ripper's head straight off with one blow, killing him in the process, before using Whirlwind Iron-Cutting Fist to shred the rest of the monster to complete pieces. He and Tario then make their escape, only to then encounter two monsters who are obviously quickly dispatched by Garou. The hero hunter then devours one of the limbs of the monsters to replenish himself, before proceeding with Tario. As they make their escape, Tario tells him that there is another child that is in need of rescuing, but obviously that's not Garou's concern, and he didn't actually come here to save Tario either. However, before the two can continue on their escape, they are confronted by overgrown Rover.
Quickly realizing that the dog actually won't harm them if they step quietly back without making noise, Garou swiftly makes his escape with Tario, not alerting the monolith of a dog, only to instantly run into the monsters Showerhead, Rat, and Unicorn. And it's like, honestly, where are these weird ass monsters even originating from at the moment? I know, but still. Anyways, Garou, who literally can't be bothered with these subpar monsters, smashes a hole straight through the pathetic Showerhead. Kicking the neurodivergent battle off, Showerhead shoots at Garou with a burst of boiling water, with Rat throwing the unicorn monster at Garou, who ends up landing directly behind him. However, remember how Garou was literally just gapping it from the dimensional dog who navigated solely off sound? Well, a monstrous growl soon vibrates through the corridor, followed by a gigantic heat blast that completely fries the three pathetic monsters, leaving Garou with a quick moment to escape with Tario. Up on the surface, Saitama chills out, taking the shaking ground for another earthquake before going back to his reading. Back down below, Garou hops around the crumbling underground while running for his life and yelling at Tario to hurry up. However, the little man just isn't fast enough, and Garou is forced to take a point-blank, life-threatening blow directly from Pochi, which sends the already beaten and bruised hero hunter shooting through the underground floors towards the lower levels of the association. Getting back up after the attack, Garou puts everything he has into one more move and tries to blast back the dimensional pup, yet he is quickly demoralized and realizes that he has no effect on the creature. Instead, the hero hunter takes yet another blow and continues his uncontrollable destructive path as he once again flies through multiple levels of the underground base until he lands on the floor directly in front of the one and only Garou. Using his telekinesis, the monster instantly restrains Garou. However, instead of taking him out, he invites the infamous hero hunter to sit and talk with him. Looking down on him, he comments on Garou's incomplete monster transformation and explains on how he desires to elevate Garou into an even greater monster, not through physical powers like Garou questions, but through a specialized monsterification process. Garou continues that in order to accelerate the growth process, the human must repeatedly experience death over and over again in order to overwhelm the body and spirit. This is obviously a delicate balance, as the human can easily succumb to death during the process, and even successful candidates will stagnate due to their low intelligence. The key ingredient needed in this process is for the human to experience their very own personal hell. Despite all of this know-how, Garou never managed to create a monster with a disaster level of dragon, except for one. Suddenly, we then see a random woman wearing glasses approaching a silhouetted man. She states that the man has turned his back on humanity and is going crazy. Suddenly, it skips forth to a moment where this woman looks up towards the newly created Monster King Orochi. Garou mentions that Garou has qualities greater than Orochi, and through his battle with Royal Ripper and Bug God, Garou has broken through another wall of impassable limits. The psychic monster offers Garou to join forces, and under their guidance, together they will crush the heroes and Garou will attain the power to become the strongest monster alive. Garou being himself though refuses, but Garou refutes his ignorance, stating that he never had a choice. The monster reasserts Garou's powerlessness against them by again reminding him of the binding and his psychic powers which dwarf the witch sisters Tatsumaki and Fubuki. Nevertheless though, Garou begins to somehow take a step as he is getting used to this level of control. Seeing this, the Esper disciplines Garou with force as rocks are thrown at him directly. In doing so though, it reveals to Garou a weakness in the Esper. He realizes that Garou can only perform one action at a time, and through this, he frees himself from the binding. Garou mocks the monster's ability and states that by killing the brain behind the monster association, it will naturally collapse in on itself afterwards. However, out of nowhere, Orochi suddenly intervenes, grabbing Garou and pulling him down to eye level with himself. Around the two of them, the stage suddenly reconstructs, and after a little bit of prodding from Garou begins to do battle against the Monster King Orochi. Orochi fires his horns at the hero hunter, piecing Garou and leaving a visible round hole in his abdomen. As the attacks continuously keep coming, Garou manages to defend himself while using the water stream rock smashing fist techniques and continuously staying on the move, killing random monsters as he does so. Then leaping at the head of the demon himself, mouths within mouths randomly begin morphing into one large jaw that almost bites down on Garou. Continuing with his ever-expanding arsenal of attacks, Orochi transforms into multiple serpent-like beings that seem to be a mixture of Hydras and Tyrannosaurus Rex heads. The multiple reptilian heads then fire a superheated flame blast directly at Garou, incinerating the entire stage in the process. Holding an amalgamation of monsters down like an arm, a large fist forms from the snake appendages, which he then uses to smack down directly against Garou again, sending him into a nearby wall. Garou calls for Garou to give up, but he refuses, bragging about his status as a genius combatant. He acknowledges Orochi's strength, but claims that he is missing the primal terror that makes him a true monster. Garou utilizes Water Stream Rock Smashing Fist and shifts into his fighting stance. Much to his surprise, Orochi copies his stance, and Garou informs him that Orochi too is a genius, in the same way as Garou, having managed to adopt his style as they fought against each other. As the fight renews, this time the dragon appendages all utilize Water Stream Rock Smashing Fist and pummel Garou back, sending him flying into the same wall he was previously just sent into. With him laying there seemingly defeated, Garou comments on Garou's lack of bloodlust, which is commonly found in monsters, despite his intense wish to become one. As such, Garou plans to thoroughly brainwash him into another ace of the Monster Association.
After being defeated here, Garou is taken by what I assume is some lower ranking monsters to an extremely low level of the association. Once all of the heroes invade City Z and Seekinga sends all of the S-Class heroes into the monster hideout,
we find that Puri Prisoner has continued his search for Nian by swinging through the underground walls of the Monster Association base. He ends up in a small chamber filled with the torture equipment and notices Garou actually chained to the wall, seemingly unconscious. Not recognizing Garou as the infamous hero hunter, Puri Prisoner thinks he is simply another human hostage and moves to release him, introducing himself as an S-Class hero. However, just as Puri recognizes Garou's face from the wanted poster, Garou awakens and breaks the chain before swiftly pummeling the hero with a multitude of strikes.
So here, it now skips away from Garou, laying out Puri Prisoner to check up on Saitama and his chill little excursion inside of the association. Quickly coming back though,
Puri Prisoner is being absolutely pummeled by Garou, getting blasted through multiple walls until he lays there battered and bruised, completely unable to move. However, as he does lay there, a big, shiny black leg muscle appears directly beside him, revealing Superalloy Darkshine, who had managed to stumble upon him at the right time. Weakly, Puri fills him in on the situation, as opposite the two huge men, a dark, bulked up figure of Garou steps out.
After here, it then flashes over to the battle between Tatsumaki and Psychos, which, like Garou vs Superalloy Darkshine, has really only just begun. Back down below in the timeline that we're here for though.
True hell has broken loose before Darkshine, as Garou has pretty much lost his mind, not thinking and just attacking over and over again. Suddenly, as Superalloy calls him a monster, Garou snaps back to reality, as technically he was actually asleep, attacking on pure instinct from the moment Puri Prisoner had disturbed him. Darkshine launches at him and attacks the now awake hero hunter, but after being pummeled, Garou simply stands there, challenging the reasoning for Darkshine even being a hero in the first place, as well as the entire Hero Society's way of thinking. Popping out those immaculate muscles, Darkshine unleashes a devastating tackle that pierces through Garou's guard with ease and sends him flying back through multiple layers of the Monster Association. Garou's ribs are completely shattered by the blow, but he soon recovers and begins using his techniques to fight against the hero. Firstly, he uses Water Stream Rock Smashing Fist to pummel the large man, followed by Whirlwind Iron Cutting Fist to land a complete onslaught that makes the indestructible hero consider the possibility of defeat and his entire reasoning with actually becoming a hero in the first place. Reconvincing himself that he, Darkshine, has the strength to take down this beast of a monster, he then uses his full power to punch Garou and uses his prolific Superalloy Bazooka. But to his complete and utter shock, Garou meets his fist with a blow of his own, and in that exact moment, Garou also finally proceeds to an even higher level of strength, with his limiter beginning to break.
Like before, here it breaks away from Garou's timeline to jump back to the current Tatsumaki battle, forgetting about the fight that she's in though because it doesn't even freaking matter right now, and continuing with the GOAT Garou.
Deep inside the association, Garou continues his beatdown on Superalloy Darkshine. He slips past a punch from Darkshine and delivers a strike that forces the hero to drop down coughing. Standing above the S-Class, Garou taunts Darkshine, who looks at him in complete fear. It's explained that when he was a child, Darkshine was a frail weakling, unable to participate in sports and other physical activities. His frailty left him unable to build any form of self-confidence. On his 15th birthday though, his parents gave him a set of 3kg dumbbells. Then, from that day onwards, he lifted every single day, gradually increasing the weight until the amount he could lift was immeasurable. His progress through this built up his confidence till the point he eventually joined the Hero Association and continued his search for an opponent who could push him to his limits. As Garou continues his assault though, Darkshine realizes that he was never looking for a real fighter. Rather, he sought a fight that could give him a satisfying victory. The instant the thought of injury flashes through Darkshine's head, the most powerful fear he had long forgotten begins to grow and overwhelm him completely, crowding his thoughts. Darting forth, Garou kicks him in the stomach and pins him to the ground with a follow-up kick to the chin. He moves to strike at Darkshine's ears, but pulls back when the hero yelps in fear. Standing above the cowering hero now, Garou judges his assault to be akin to bullying, a pathetic evil compared to what he aims to become in the future. Suddenly, Garou's joints start cracking and the dark marks on his body crawl towards his face. Then even more randomly, psychic barriers are created by Tatsumaki that surround Darkshine and pull him up as the ceiling of the room collapses in, leaving Garou on the ground amidst the falling rubble. Tatsumaki then drags the entire Monster Association headquarters to the surface.
Well, obviously Tatsumaki and her interruption absolutely cucked our goat and his almost sure quill right there. On top of that, it also left I don't even want to imagine how many freaking tons of debris crushing him down. Even still, Garou, who is deep underground as he has been buried in the many falling debris, begins rising up. Slowly rising, he ponders the idea on why the more he is beaten, the more he feels like he is getting stronger. Coming to the conclusion that through these pretty much like Zenkai boosts of strength, he is one step closer to becoming the monster that he wishes to become. Internally thinking, he fully envisions himself as despair incarnate, desiring to make the world become the way he wants it to be, and with that, his body once more begins transforming into a more monstrous state. Suddenly, Garou erupts from the ground nearby, now with a completely monstrous appearance, and confronts both Fubuki and Bomb. The elder martial artist then loudly calls for his brother, informing Bang and the other heroes of Garou's new presence. Hearing this, Bang wants to leave and assist his brother, but he's currently holding off the Black Ass clones. Having heard all the info as well, and knowing that he probably wants to leave, Atomic Samurai tells him to go and assist his brother, much to the elder's gratitude. Over on the other side of the battlefield, Bomb prepares to fight the almost completely monsterized Garou while telling Fubuki to stay back. With insane rage, Garou starts engaging in combat with Bomb, and the two of them are capable of holding their own relatively well against each other. Fubuki watches the battle and tries to assist the old man against the hero hunter. However, they are fighting so fast that her eyes can simply not follow their attacks. As Fubuki appears to lose her focus, Garou tries to attack her, but Bomb manages to block his strike, then purposefully lands a blow on Garou that sends him flying away in an attempt to keep Fubuki away from the fight, before immediately rushing towards him. Cutting here now, it shoots around the battlefield as all of the S-Class heroes are stuck in battle with the strongest members from the Monster Association. Eventually, Garou and Bomb continue battling. The elder martial artist contemplates Garou's extremely rapid growth, noting that the hero hunter's newly customized style has fused every technique he's ever learned together. Thinking on what to do, he questions whether it came about due to monstrification or something beforehand. Bomb resolves not to go down until his brother arrives, and he prepares a powerful cutting move. Having concealed the preparation for his attack, Bomb strikes the ground, managing to disorientate Garou. Seeing this, he then seizes the opportunity to launch an attack, but is shocked to find that Garou perfectly matches and cancels out the blow. Then in retaliation, Garou throws a single hit which knocks Bomb to the ground. Sadly, Bang arrives just in time to see his elder brother being defeated. Noticing his arrival, Bomb calls out to his bro, warning him about Garou's extreme growth, but Bang remains strong with a stern look in the direction of his traitorous former disciple. Standing there, Bang comments on Garou's miserable state before deciding to go all out against his former disciple and pretty much grandson. In a flash, they begin engaging in combat, with the two of them extremely capable of fighting against each other. Yet even still, with the pure intensity of the fight, Garou manages to make his former master bleed after a brief clash, causing Bang to remark that he is now much more worthy of teaching than before. Here, it funnily enough actually skips away from Garou's timeline for a bit to introduce King and Metal back together as they then enter the battlefield. After King then ends up making his grand entrance, stalling both of the cadres, we shoot back over to the sensei and student showdown, with Garou then taking the stance of the exploding heart release fist, a fighting style that Bang primarily used before developing Water Stream Rock Smashing Fist. Both Bang and Bomb are surprised to see this, with Bomb asking his brother how Garou knew of the style, as Bang had sealed it away a long time ago. It's then explained through the old man that Garou once broke into the safe that contained the scrolls of secret techniques at his dojo and got a grasp of that specific style. Even still, despite Garou using his exploding heart release fist, it reminds Bang of his own past self and makes him even more determined not to lose. It's then revealed that during Bang's past, he used to be a complete ruffian who would recklessly challenge any strong opponents and would often put them in hospital. Being disgusted by his brother's brutality, Bomb decided to confront Bang himself and put an end to his rampage. Before they fought, Bomb noted that while his brother thought he'd gained tremendous power, he hadn't really overcome himself, and states that he'd have to teach Bang a lesson about properly overcoming oneself. Their fight then began, and shortly after, Bomb defeated his younger brother. As Bang attempted to spite his older brother, Bomb just told him to chill out for a bit before leaving the area. This loss would come to humble Bang over time and make him see the true error of his ways.
Through this, he chose to create a new defensive-orientated fighting style and decided to follow his brother's footsteps by creating his own dojo. During the years, Bom would keep an eye on his brother, revisiting his dojo and smiling with pride at his brother's changed life. Back in the present, after recalling his memories about Bang and seeing that his brother is being overwhelmed by Garou, Bom notes that if Bang uses exploding heart release fist, then perhaps he can still stand a chance. Bom then quickly figures out that Bang won't use it, as his brother is slowly being pushed back. Though, in the fight, it's actually explained that Bang feels like he's getting through to Garou with his fists, and tells Bom to watch this carefully. He keeps on fighting and attempts to reach Garou by using the voice hidden within the fists. As he tries speaking to Garou, he personally decides that he will quit being a hero after this incident is fixed, and expresses his desire of once again being Garou's sensei. The intense battle between Garou and Bang continues, with Bang being the one who is at a disadvantage but briefly gaining the upper hand by using his grappling abilities and kicking Garou away. Garou eventually demonstrates his roaring aura sky-ripping fist to the shock of both Bang and Bom. Darting forward, he clashes with Bang in a rapid show of insane blows. The intense shockwaves generated from Garou's multitude of techniques are so powerful that they turn everything within the vicinity into complete powder. Seeing this, Bom remarks that if Bang takes a direct hit from the Hero Hunter, he'll die, as the shockwaves will course through and wreck his weak body. However, Bang is able to effectively avoid the devastating technique Garou's throwing at him, until he attempts to land a final attack of his own on his ex-student. Bang successfully lands his punch into Garou's face, drawing a noticeable amount of blood from him and cracking his face, while Garou simply grazes Bang's cheek. But like I previously mentioned before, the shockwave from his blow is strong enough to cause a fair amount of damage to the oldie, causing his former master to finally fall defeated after a tough fight. Bom expresses his concern over his brother's condition, having seen him fall, then notices that a smiling Ugly is approaching his brother, and is delighted at the fact that he has finally found Bang to claim his revenge. Ugly is seen standing in front of Bang now, who's lying defeated on the ground, and wonders if Garou is the one who defeated him. Garou, having his skin in his left eye shattered, begins roaring and charging towards Ugly, and actually manages to rip a hole through the monster's body with a kick. As King is closing his eyes and shouting the name of his attack to intimidate his opponent, Garou appears and proceeds to dash in the direction of Platinum S and sends the fusion flying with a single kick. Realizing that something's up, the evil natural water senses Garou's murderous intent and attacks him with 2 water jets, only for the Hero Hunter to deflect them both and begin pummeling the water monster with multiple blows. With all of these attacks happening in literally the blink of an eye, King wasn't even aware of Garou's presence and is taken by shock with what just happened. Falling backwards himself, King is just utterly confused about what has just occurred. Over with the monsters, Ugly is shocked at seeing the fatal injury he just received before collapsing and having his entire body melt away. Standing there and having already defeated the monsters, Garou then quickly takes notice of a wormhole that emerges near him and releases Saitama, Flashy Flash, and Manako, who are all seemingly surprised that they have been teleported to the surface by Blast. Being one of the only heroes left, King is delighted to see that Saitama has finally shown up, while Flashy Flash observes his surroundings and wonders if the other heroes have all been defeated. Flash quickly realizes the threat of Garou is near, while Saitama rushes over towards Genos, expressing concern about the cyborg's beating condition. While there with him, Saitama goes on to ask Genos if Garou is the one who's responsible for his destroyed state, with Genos responding that it was actually a Monster Association executive member. Having just regained his senses himself, Garou is confused about his new form, noting that he does not remember ever surfacing from underground and honestly was just dreaming about sparring with Bang in the past. To his surprise, Flashy Flash appears out of nowhere, throwing a kick directly at Garou, with him narrowly being able to dodge it. Instantly, the Hero Hunter recognizes him as the S-Class hero rank 13. Flashy Flash, who's a little slow, asks him if he's the Monster King boss, to which the Hero Hunter answers that he has nothing to do with the Monster Association, and reveals to him that his name is actually Garou. In an instant, Platinum S interrupts them by simultaneously passing through and pummeling them both. Having seen the change in Garou, he states he's disappointed, as even though he's monsterized so much, he does still not have the courage to join the monsters. Both being unfazed by the sudden attack, Flashy Flash and Garou start a free-for-all battle with Platinum S, allowing the three of them to exchange extremely powerful blows at incredible speeds.
And between the jump away from this portion of Garou's timeline, we pop over to Big King as he finally reconvenes with Saitama and the heavily damaged Genos. Right after this ends,
the battle between Garou, Flashy Flash, and Platinum S generates a geometric structure of light covering the sky due to them moving at unimaginably fast speeds. It's mistakenly believed by most of those who are observing the battle from afar to actually be the work of Tatsumaki and the other Esper, with only a few aware that those are the sparks of the battle between Flashy Flash, Garou, and Platinum S. During the fight, Platinum S suggests Garou team up with him to defeat Flashy Flash, pointing out that the hero's been weakened due to losing his sword. Garou, being Garou though, pretends to agree with him, but as soon as Platinum lets his guard down, he's punched in the face by the Hero Hunter. Just then, Garou turns it up a notch and begins to showcase his Monster Calamity Godslayer Fist, a fighting style that is a combination of many martial arts he has learned throughout battles, which, as he uses it against his two foes, manages to overwhelm both Flashy Flash and Platinum S. As the battle continues elsewhere, Flashy Flash starts to get overwhelmed and is just shocked at the fact that in a single day he has encountered 4 people who have surpassed his supposedly unmatched speed. He desperately tries to best Garou and Platinum S, but fails, with him eventually being defeated by the latter. With only 2 monsters remaining in this battle now, they resume their accelerated bout, exchanging a multitude of blows in the sky, with only 1.3 milliseconds before Garou then manages to land a stronger hit and send Platinum S flying into the ground below. As Platinum S quickly gets up and calls out to Garou, he is finally defeated by the Hero Hunter, who instantly phases through him while delivering a killing blow that causes him to explode into a multitude of bits.
So, after Garou then defeats Platinum S here, God actually shows up as Bang and tries to tempt an extremely weakened Tatsumaki with a power-up. Luckily she refuses, and in almost the exact same moment, Bang himself arrives, only for like the 2nd or 3rd time in the entire series. Taking things up a level though, the Sage Centipede then erupts from the earth below and focuses its attention on the heroes below.
After showing up, Sage Centipede loudly claims that it has been sent to destroy the abnormal fist that opposes God, and declares itself the incarnation of Father Earth. Sage Centipede then directs its eyes towards the sea, where the evil natural water monster is, now known as the evil ocean water monster now, due to it fusing with the entire ocean. Sage Centipede refers to the evil ocean water as the incarnation of Mother Ocean, stating that along with the latter, it will bring total destruction to the entire planet. Surprisingly though, in a pure flash, Garou jumps forward towards Sage Centipede and pummels it in the head with a multitude of different strikes. Garou's combo attacks have proven to be extremely effective against Sage Centipede, who has taken damage and is stunned by the Hero Hunter's assault. Garou notices that there is a helicopter from afar and sees that Tario is inside it. He's surprised that the boy has finally managed to escape the Monster Association headquarters and taunts Sage Centipede, trying to attract its attention. However, Sage Centipede also realizes that the helicopter behind it concerns Garou, and it tells him not to move, otherwise evil ocean water will shoot down the helicopter with its great oceanic cannon. As Garou is shocked and annoyed after hearing this, Sage Centipede attacks him with its Centipede Grand March, surrounding and striking the Hero Hunter repeatedly, with evil ocean water aiding the Centipede by shooting a devastating water cannon at the Hero Hunter.
During the short moment here that Garou is mixed up in the water blast, Saitama pops in, one-shots evil ocean water monster, destroying it and enraging Sage Centipede, causing him to chase down the nearby chopper.
Garou, noticing this, and already having recovered from the damage, chases after the monster. Suddenly, the absolute G himself, Metal Bat, jumps onto the Sage Centipede and strikes it in the face with a multitude of swings from the bats. However, Sage easily shrugs off his assault and simply tosses him away. Skipping away over to Garou as he boasts towards the monster trying to save Tario, well, he actually ends up running into the falling Metal Bat, leaving the two of them surprised at seeing each other again. Believing him to be getting in his way once more, just like the last time they fought where he was trying to attack Centurico but Garou kept beating him back, Metal Bat attacks the Hero Hunter because of this, but he swiftly evades the hero's swings and keeps moving forwards towards the Centipede, ignoring him. Garou then jumps onto the Centipede's back, with Metal Bat slowly catching up to him. As the two of them then chase each other on their way to the monster's head, a reporter helicopter pops up right above the Centipede. Annoyed with the news team's interference, Sage Centipede strikes the helicopter with one of its antennas. However, Metal Bat appears in front of the helicopter and blocks it with his strike, while Garou gets onto the helicopter and scares off the people inside of it, causing it to fly away from the scene. Immediately after saving all of the humans, Garou charges towards the Sage Centipede and lands a barrage of attacks, yet despite taking his blows head on, the Centipede is only momentarily knocked back and quickly recovers from it. I absolutely love this next moment here, boys. Together, both Garou and Metal Bat stand side by side and assume their fighting stances. Metal Bat questions what's wrong with Garou, given that he not only attacked Sage Centipede, but also helped the reporter helicopter escape, commenting that now he's even more sensible than when he was a human. Hearing this, the absolutely confused Garou responds by saying that he just wants to show the world how terrifying he truly is. He informs the hero of the monster's target being the rescue helicopter behind them, stating that the two have to buy some time for it to get away. Having thought up a plan, Garou suggests that Metal Bat act as a decoy, much to the hero's anger, and after a small argument, they finally agree to actually team up against the Sage Centipede. Meanwhile, in the Hero Association hospital, Suryu and Suko are seen watching the situation in Z City through a television. Suko comments that the reporters will not get away from the monster, referring to Garou, that can leap into a helicopter. Suryu, on the other hand, expresses that the helicopter did not crash, and he somehow believes that Garou did not want to hurt those people. Back on the Centipede, Garou and Metal Bat unleash their abilities, with Roaring Aura Sky-Ripping Fist and Savage Tornado. However, their attacks cannot bring down the monster due to its extreme durability as well as its powerful regen abilities. While recognizing Garou's strength, Sage Centipede thinks of Metal Bat as a non-threat and considers taking him hostage. Garou then criticizes Metal Bat for not being able to deal any damage to the Centipede-like monster, and upon hearing their argument, Sage Centipede figures out that it would not work. Instead, it continues to pursue the helicopter in an attempt to take the passengers all hostage. As the monster gets closer and closer, One-Shotter, unable to aim properly due to losing his special mechanical eye, shoots at the Centipede but misses. Sage Centipede then eventually catches the helicopter with his antennas, shattering the rotor blades and taking the people inside hostage. At this moment, Garou and Metal Bat both stop dead in their tracks, realizing the severity of the situation. Immediately following this, Sage Centipede attacks the two with its Centipede Grand March, causing the terrain around them to erupt, seemingly taking them down. Due to the damage sustained, Garou was forced to his knees and subsequently grabbed by one of the monster's human arms. Just as he is about to be killed by the Sage Centipede, One-Shotter, now able to aim accurately thanks to him having support from Gear Spear, shoots the monster multiple times, directly aiming now at its eyes. As the attack hits, it momentarily distracts it, allowing Garou to pry open the hold and escape from the monster's hand. Now freed, Garou proceeds to pummel Sage Centipede, with Taro and the other people around mistaking him for a hero and cheering him on. As Garou is about to be attacked, he still continuously attempts to free the helicopter from the monster's antennas, until Metal Bat with his serious injuries appears and manages to chop off Sage Centipede's antennas, completely surprising the monster with Metal Bat's sudden change in strength. As we all know though, since our boy received literally life-threatening injuries, Metal Bat, through his fighting spirit, was pumped up, and his strength has increased to an even higher degree than before. He informs Garou, who's still holding the helicopter, that about 500 meters away, there is a huge safety net. Hearing this information, the hero hunter without second thought then proceeds to throw the remains of the helicopter to that safety position, much to Sage Centipede's displeasure. The two of them then stand side by side, ready to give the monster all they have got left. Sage Centipede refers to their team up as pathetic, shortly before charging at them with its 6,666 leg Grand Drill, a powerful attack that obviously resembles a drill. In response, Garou and Metal Bat, working in tandem, utilize their strongest techniques respectively, with Garou unleashing another cross-fang Dragon Slayer fist and Metal Bat with his pumped up Savage Hurricane, accidentally creating a combo attack against the giant monster, successfully countering its rush and even cracking the durable outside shell, much to the shock of the Centipede. It's then revealed that Metal Bat is inferior to Garou in strength by a large margin, and the current reason the S-Class hero can keep up with the Hero Hunter is because of their resonance, which has amplified Metal Bat's capabilities to amazing levels. For those absolutely confused on what resonance could be, well, when light or sound waves strike an object that is already vibrating at some particular frequency, so think of that as their attacks on the Centipede, which is traveling towards them, and if that frequency happens to match that resonant frequency of the object it's hitting, then you'll get what's called resonance. Metal Bat and Garou continue their assault, with the former now being strong enough to damage Sage Centipede's exoskeleton with every single swing due to him resonating with Garou, although he is quickly knocked back by the monster. Garou, having his strength also increased greatly due to him resonating with Metal Bat, is now able to blast through Sage Centipede's body and steal its regeneration core, ceasing the monster's ability to continue regenerating. As Sage is left shocked at the fact that it can no longer regenerate from damage, Garou explains that he noticed a certain spot on the monster that was releasing energy and therefore deduced that it was probably his core. The Centipede attempts to take it back, but the Hero Hunter throws it directly up into the sky at high speed, causing the Centipede monster to instantly chase, trying to catch up to the core. With the monster leaving the Earth's upper atmospheres, it's finally able to reach and get a hold of the core with its antennas, while also having revealed its true length as it's extended all the way from the ground to space. Garou, having run up its back, leaps at the regeneration core before it completely and utterly destroys the object by jumping down upon it. Then continuing to head downwards towards the Sage Centipede, with a karate chop, Garou recalls how he first joined Bang's dojo and failed to break all 50 tiles in a single chop, leaving only one left, a true testament to his capabilities as a newcomer. Back in reality, with this giant centipede in front of him, it finally meets its end at the hands of the Hero Hunter, who chops it in half vertically all the way down to the very surface of the planet. Standing there back on the ground in front of the defeated Sage Centipede, Garou claims that his fist has now been perfected. Garou looks on at his surroundings, wondering what in the world happened to the evil ocean water monster. In that moment, Saitama finally appears behind Garou and asks who he is supposed to be. Although Garou at this point doesn't realise Saitama's actual identity, he still answers the Bald King's question regarding what he is, by stating that he is a monster who will cast all of humanity into the depths of despair and become absolute evil. Saitama is confused though about whether Garou is evil, considering he helped a helicopter escape from the Sage Centipede just before. But Garou reasons that he needs witnesses to spread fear and to let people know that he is stronger than any hero or monster, stating that absolute evil correlates with absolute strength. Garou then tells Saitama to leave and quit his job as he will annihilate both the monster and hero association. He then, in our typical evil villain stereotype, rambles on about his plans of utter domination. After listening to Garou, Saitama begins to leave without acknowledging him as a monster, which leaves the jacked up Garou just utterly confused. Frustrated, Saitama explains to him that the only reason he is out here in the first place is because he went out of his way to complain about the noise, and now, because of that, his house has been completely destroyed. Due to this random set of circumstances in Saitama's eyes, he's extremely upset and says that now he would rather blow up the entire planet, making Garou shiver with his words. As Saitama leaves, Garou calls out to him, saying he'll pay should he underestimate absolute evil, and charges at him with a punch. Unfortunately for him, Saitama is just frankly unbeatable, and with an impulsive punch, he knocks Garou back before the latter could land the hit. After being punched, Garou manages to remember Saitama, identifying him as the one bald guy that he's run into several times before, which is obviously just hilarious to me. I love how all the past scuffles or interactions, I don't know really what you would call them, between Garou and Saitama have just been Garou getting completely and utterly abused by an unaware Saitama. It's just too good. Anyway, now the main battle can begin as Garou finally realizes who this goat of a baldy truly is. Now having recovered from Saitama's punch, Garou prepares to properly begin fighting him. They begin exchanging blows while crossing kilometers in just moments, reaching far into the upper atmosphere of the sky. Saitama attacks Garou with a punch aimed at his head, but Garou now, having literally ascended, manages to dodge it before axe kicking our baldy into the ground, causing a huge section of landmass to instantly rupture, sending rubble shooting out. When Saitama stands up onto his feet, Garou leaps down towards him with a hand chop, striking his head directly, causing a forceful impact on the surroundings. However, the hand chop is not enough to faze our boy, who retaliates with a simple headbutt that shatters Garou's forearm. Despite this, Garou manages to regenerate his forearm and attempts to punch Saitama. However, the caped baldy is faster and manages to punch him back first. After being knocked back a considerable distance by Saitama, Garou's body, in response to his anger, undergoes a mutation that increases his size and stature, as well as his strength. At this moment, Tario, remember that little weeb of a kid who was a mad hero fan, had the whole book and all, well now he's just a mad Garou fanboy at this point in the stories, which is dope and all, because so is everyone else obviously. But anyway, just before this point, somehow he had managed to evade all of the other heroes trying to flee and made his way up behind the bulked up demonic Garou. He then tells him that he is a hero to him, which annoys Garou, who tries to explain again to Tario that he is not a hero at all. Yet, even after what Garou says, the boy still insists that he is the greatest hero to him, and tells Garou to stop pretending to be a monster. Saitama slowly comes up to the two of them and comments on the terrible things Garou has done, like murking heroes, crushing dojos, and now playing monster, causing this innocent kid to break down and cry. As Saitama takes his steps towards the hero hunter, Tario tries to stop him from further fighting the hero. However, Garou still lays out Saitama and punches him hard in the head after getting provoked. Though, as per usual, Saitama is completely unscathed, even after taking a punch head on. He then boldly, and like the true Chad level bald king he is, reassures a shocked Tario that Garou will not be able to hurt him. Angered, Garou tries to kick Saitama, but is immediately slapped away by the hero as if it was nothing. Back with Tario, Saitama asks him if he'd like him to stop but not kill Garou, and return him to normal, to which Garou solemnly nods in agreement. Which is so damn wholesome, man. I love seeing these little bits of actual human moments from our psychotic little baldy. It just goes to show that he still has a bit of heart left in him somewhere. So finally, it's just the two big bad boys standing there, and Saitama questions why Garou is acting like a monster despite previously having helped heroes. Garou tries to reason that he was merely using them to further his goals of absolute evil. Yet, after Saitama casually lumps Garou's absolute evil together with world peace in a randomly coincidental way, Garou angrily charges at him. He manages to parry a punch from Saitama, then using the momentum, he hand chops him right in the side of his face and lands a punch to his head before elbowing him in the stomach, all done within the fraction of a second. When Saitama grabs Garou's arm, the enlightened hero hunter performs several lock-on moves that eventually hit Saitama in the hip. Garou instantly follows up and proceeds to use his Godslayer instant attack, slamming his foe into the ground with a flurry of monstrous punches. However, Saitama, having evaded the attack, soon emerges nearby after digging underground and throws a massive rock at Garou, while asking the hero hunter if he's able to avoid his punches due to his special martial arts skills, to which Garou confirms while shattering the rock with his freaking jointless rotating arms. Garou attempts a barrage of attacks on Saitama, but the hero manages to dodge, prompting him to remark that Saitama has amazing reflexes and agility, but still lacks skill and has plenty of openings, which is just hilarious. Like, Garou bro, you need to focus on yourself first. Claiming to be able to read all of Saitama's moves now, Big Brain Garou declares that the hero will lose due to his lack of technique and being a complete amateur, before sending him absolutely flying and crashing into several buildings with his Godslayer ascending attack. Instantly after this, just unfathomable feat, Garou catches right up to Saitama and uses his great fudging, which, I hope I got right and didn't mess it up, cause this attack is just absolutely insane. I'm gonna be calling out the art for this entire video, cause it's just freaking gods here at this point. Look at it, the buildings lift up and then slam together, it's so good, and believe me, this is just the freaking beginning of the stuff. This great fudging sends the big baldy crashing through more buildings, lifting them up off the ground and ultimately pulverizing them into nothing but dust and smoke. Believing he has won now, Garou states that Saitama may have incredibly tough skin and bones, but he cannot train his internal organs, which Garou believes to have been damaged by his attack. However, to his surprise, Saitama emerges completely unharmed. It is then shown that Garou, in destroying the buildings and following in the way of absolute evil, has accidentally saved 5 Hero Association staff members who had been trapped inside an underground shelter. As all of them show their gratitude to him before leaving, Saitama ironically comments on how absolute evil is actually good at saving people. Enraged that he just ain't evil enough yet, Garou attacks Saitama again and soon evolves even further, taking on this sick as fuck demonic type form that has these almost unproportionate looking wings on his back, but it's honestly still fire as fuck. While defending against an onslaught from him, Saitama states that Garou has improved a little, which angers the hero hunter, who with a punch knocks him into a currently exploding volcano. Garou immediately charges at Saitama and strikes him with both of his open palms, causing the mountain behind to shatter due to the powerful impact. After the attack, Garou is on his knees and panting, while an unharmed Saitama simply punches him away. Recovering his balance, Garou is impressed that Saitama could withstand the attack that destroyed the volcano behind him. Also hilariously following in the current course of things, Garou has accidentally saved an entire city from being destroyed by the volcano's lava. And again, Saitama notices this random act of so-called kindness and almost taunts him, commenting that Garou has a great hero's instinct, which reminds him a lot of King. Garou grows 2 more arms and continues his onslaught. However, he is now visibly showing signs of panic as he fights back against our Baldy. P.S. Shout out to all your bald kings out there. Get this video to 50k likes. I honestly don't even know why I'm saying this right now, which is honestly unachievable for me. And I'll go bald. Fuck it, man. I'll go bald. Hell, why not? I'll do it for 100k subs. And if this video gets to 50k likes, I'll do it, because hell, Saitama is a goat, man. And I love this arc so much. I've had so much fun reading it. Despite being attacked by the hero hunter, who is using all 4 of his arms, Saitama effortlessly manages to dodge and parries a flurry of Garou's punches with only one hand, while also telling him to just straight up stop fighting, which is a freaking insane burn on him, man. Afterwards, Garou places 2 of his hands on Saitama and takes a form that resembles a jet, while his remaining 2 arms emit energy to act as propulsion. He then follows up with a mighty attack called Extreme Fujin. Garou pushes Saitama into the ground, creating an intense seismic wave that passes directly through the Earth's core. The attack is so freaking immensely powerful that it distorts the space-time around the Earth, moves oceanic plates, and even makes an entire continent raise up from the other side of the planet. It even messes with the magnetic and gravitational fields of the planet, putting it as a whole at risk. Despite all of his efforts, Saitama is still unfazed by Garou's earth-altering attack and retaliates with his infamous consecutive normal punches. As the two of them return from Earth's depths, Garou tries to fend off Saitama's flurry of punches, but fails. At this moment, he recalls the abominable fist Sage Centipede had once mentioned and deduces that he was referring to Saitama instead of Garou himself. Our bald king proceeds to punch Garou directly in the face, snapping him back to reality while causing him to crash through several mountains and eventually fall into a massive puddle. As he slowly gets back up, Garou is shocked and angered by Saitama's overwhelming power, viewing him as the embodiment of unfairness. Because of this, Garou charges at Saitama with a punch, refusing to lose to him. However, Saitama punches Garou before he can himself and sends him flying away, destroying Garou's monster form and exposing his true human body that had been buried inside his monster's exoskeleton. As Garou laments being beaten by such unfairness, he hears a voice calling out to him. The voice tells him that there is only one fist that can counter the fist that is turned against God. Everyone's favourite villain then sees an apparition of Bang hovering above him and offering Garou his hand. At the same time, massive storm clouds appear, revealing I don't even know what to call this thing, like God's legs or something. All we know is this creature is a 100% on leg day right now. Anyway, with everyone witnessing this, Saitama ominously notes that something is coming. In that moment, he sees Garou leap down from behind to face him once again. Saitama exclaims that Garou changed costumes again, while Garou, having received the power from the one they call God, replies that the only way to counter the fist that is turned against God is the fist of God itself. Oh my god, this form is so freaking clean. Murata, you need to chill, man. I'm actually gonna, Anyway, now appearing as a void of stars and galaxies and his new awakened Garou, Cosmic Fear Mode, he takes a fighting stance and prepares for another round against the one and only invincible hero. Having now gained the knowledge of all of the flow of energy that courses through the universe, as well as the behavior of the forces of the cosmos, Garou utilizes said flow of energy to send a cataclysmic attack towards Saitama called the Life Eradication Fist Mark Nuclear Fission. The attack results in a massive nuclear explosion, which is instantly followed by several more that reach up into the sky as Garou continues to attack, while the surviving heroes, including Psychos, who has emerged since her defeat at the hands of Tatsumaki, stare in amazement and horror at the nuclear blasts exploding nearby. Well, anyway, I think it's kind of sad for our heroes down below, guys. Time for the radiation poisoning. Big rip on them all down there. Despite the enormous force behind the attacks, Saitama was much more concerned over his outfit, which leaves Garou utterly bewildered. Nevertheless, Garou proclaims that he feels like he can do anything before explaining to Saitama that in martial arts there are secret techniques known as Shikai, where a martial artist can borrow the power of nature by imitating the movements of living things. Garou prefers to address them as modes, since to him they sound cooler that way. He then demonstrates one of these modes, that being Mode Saitama, as Saitama's own face appears in place of Garou's featureless void-like face. Garou duplicates and utilizes Saitama's consecutive normal punches, assaulting the hero with his own technique, prompting Saitama to respond with his own consecutive normal punches. Honestly, this is somehow just the beginning of the true insanity which is about to come. Hold on to your damn seats, because we're going far out of this freaking world. Their fists collide in an exchange of blows, creating an enormous destructive force that pushes out around them, destroying everything in its path. The exchange of blows ends with Saitama and Garou simultaneously landing a blow to one another's faces, sending them both directly into the water below. Instantly, they both leap back out of the water, with Garou then taunting Saitama on how he must be at a loss for words upon finding someone who could finally match his strength. Saitama, though, is slightly dismayed as he thinks back to how he promised Tario he wouldn't get scratched. Seeing this and feeling empowered, Garou goes to show Tario how powerless heroes truly are. He begins to charge his body as it is encased in a singularity before unleashing another extremely powerful attack called the Life Eradication Fist Mark Gamma Ray Burst towards Saitama. Now, Saitama realizes that if any attack grazes the ground, it would destroy the planet, so in an attempt to save it, he decides to jump high into the air to bring the attack away from the ground. However, Garou thinks he is attempting to dodge it by jumping. Because of this, the attack directly hits and completely engulfs Saitama in a beam of the universe's highest level radiation, sending him off the planet at literally the speed of light itself, if not faster, because that is literally the speeds we are talking about here when a gamma ray burst goes off. Man's ability can technically go faster than light itself. Now, with Big Baldy literally shot into the abyss of space, Garou lands on a pile of debris and confronts the various heroes of the Hero Association that have huddled around together. The remaining heroes immediately realize that the man standing before them was the source of this massive energy explosion just moments before. Only the S-Class heroes remain on the spot while the lower ranks begin to run away in fear. Seeing this, Garou questions if he has finally achieved his ultimate goal of becoming absolute evil. Grateful for the strength he had received, Garou looks into the sky and ominously says, "Thank you." Bang, being one of the heroes who chose to stay rather than run away, confronts Garou and asks if a monster did something to him. Garou then reveals to Bang that he wasn't truly tricked by the entity that approached him earlier, and instead knew all along that the strange figure who took the form of Bang wasn't actually his former master. Regardless, Garou was informed that simply coming into contact with the entity was enough for him to be greatly influenced by it. However, Garou denies that he has become a puppet and states that what he is doing is of his own free will. After making this clear to everyone, Garou decides that it is now time to conduct evil. As Garou approaches the remaining heroes, Child Emperor and Wagan Ma start to bleed from their noses. Moments later, the two children collapse onto the ground, seemingly dead to the effects of Garou's radiation. Despite Garou stating that he is in control of his own actions, Bang still believes that there is something evil within Garou, and that evil is now controlling him. Suddenly, oh yes man, the big man himself, rank 1 S-Class hero, Blast, randomly teleports into the area and introduces himself to a surprised Garou. He attempts to reason with Garou, stating that he has been controlled by a mysterious entity known as God, and emphasizes that in Garou's current form, any attack unleashed would endanger all life on Earth. Although Garou still retains his careless demeanor, he is somewhat intrigued by what Blast has just said, and asks what he should do about it. Blast offers to transport Garou into another dimension, but the awakened Garou simply declines the offer, and instead boasts about how his mere presence is now causing people to die, believing that he has finally become the true symbol of fear. Bang attempts to stop Garou from proceeding, but suddenly Genos, who's literally nothing but a damn torso at the moment, uses the remaining bits of power he has left and hurls himself towards the seemingly invincible enemy and headbutts him in the chest, stating that there is another radiation-resistant hero he forgot about. However though, Garou easily grabs the hero by the hair and goes to finish him off, but before he can do anything, Blast intervenes and begins to fight Garou off himself. Blast fires his dimension cannon towards Garou, but the hero hunter quickly dodges the blast while commenting it to be a lame attack, which is, kind of funny because of the hype around Blast. You'd expect him to have these insane abilities, but he's just got like these boxing gloves pretty much. However, a portal appears above Garou and transports him to where Blast is, followed by a powerful punch from Blast called the Gravity Knuckle straight to Garou's face, forcing him to release Genos. Blast summons another portal to where Garou is, and redirects his trajectory to have him meet yet another punch straight to the face. Blast continues this pattern as he rapidly pummels Garou in the face, all the while slowly bringing his portals closer together. Before long, Blast quickly seals the two portals with the intent of sealing Garou within another dimension. However, much to Blast's shock, Garou emerges from a portal of his own making, having mimicked Blast's own powers and techniques. He now wields Blast's Gravity Knuckle in his right hand and his own Life Eradication Fist, Mark, Nuclear Fission in the other. He uses both of these to unleash a rapid barrage of attacks on Blast, doing his best to try and overwhelm the number one hero. This forces Blast on the defensive as he summons multiple teleportation rings to redirect Garou's attacks elsewhere. Another portal is then summoned by Blast above the sky, which absorbs the remaining explosions in order to prevent further destruction to the environment. Nonetheless, the utter force of the attack sends both Garou and Blast shooting away from each other. Noting the extreme energy being put off, Blast fears that if this battle continues for much longer, then not only will the gates that seemingly keep God at bay weaken, but everything on the planet will die from the radiation Garou is emitting. Garou commends Blast, as he sees that he's not the number one hero for nothing, but also immediately realizes something else and decides to shift his focus back onto Saitama. Realizing that the Bald King will soon return, and that the hero was not going all out while fighting earlier, Garou decides to kill Genos in order to draw out the full power of Saitama. Garou, then in probably the most heart-wrenching moment in the entire series so far, impales Genos through the chest and rips out his core. Only a second or two later, as Garou holds his heart in his hands, Saitama finally returns back to Earth. As he stands there in pure bewilderment and shock, A black liquid slowly begins to pour down like rain due to the nuclear fallout. Seeing his deadpan expression, Garou taunts him by throwing Genos' depleted core at him. Saitama catches it and stares blankly, remembering Genos' previous words about how he is always on time, denying them by stating that he is usually always late. Saitama, enraged and with a serious expression on his face, unleashes his first serious punch towards Garou, who immediately responds with a serious punch of his own. Having copied Saitama once again, using mode Saitama, Blast immediately and fearfully realizes that the fallout from the two colliding attacks will completely destroy the Earth. In an attempt to try and save the planet, he summons a portal beneath the two, and just as their fists collide, they are transported way up into space above the upper atmosphere of the Earth. However, the kinetic energy that erupted from their serious punch squared was so powerful that Blast's dimensional gate was unable to sustain it. As Blast comes to the realization that he may be unable to angle the vector of energy away from Earth, three of Blast's allies come to his aid, which honestly cracks me up, man. Like, who are these space-ass looking ranger goons? No, I love the universe expansion stuff for the next arc and so forth. It's great. I can't wait to see like more of this kind of shit. Anyway, with all four of them there, they're able to create an opening inside of the barrier that launches Saitama and Garou 43 light minutes away from the Earth, while the shockwave of energy itself is directed in the completely opposite direction, which results in the destruction of like thousands and thousands and thousands of numerous star systems seen in the night sky. Saitama and Garou crash into a celestial satellite revealed to be Lo, one of Jupiter's moons. The two were initially bewildered and confused, but after figuring out their location, Saitama stands above Garou atop a small hill and proclaims that he can finally let loose against someone who can finally withstand his full power. Yet despite that fact, he still doesn't feel the least bit excited to finally go all out. Garou, still annoyed with the current location, suggests that they should find a way to get back to Earth, but Saitama instantly shuts him down and says that they will need to figure it out after he defeats them, stating that he only needs one hand to do so. Unfazed, Garou initiates the fight once more by simply summoning a portal beneath Saitama, only for the caped baldy to casually kick it away, much to Garou's surprise. Then suddenly, in an instant, Garou is rocked by a punch from Saitama, sending him flying off the moon. Garou quickly creates a portal that brings him back to Saitama and attempts to counter with a punch, only for Saitama to flip Garou's portal upside down, thus making Garou hit the air instead, before he is then thumped by yet another punch that sends him rocketing into the floor. Unimpressed, Saitama tells Garou to stop using his cosmic tricks and fight him with his fists, going on to taunt him, asking if these attacks are his so-called ultimate martial arts. Again with the martial arts. Garou, offended by his taunt, obliges, while saying he has absorbed countless martial arts and techniques before he dashes around Saitama with immense speed through multiple portals in an attempt to disorientate him. He first attacks him with roaring ore, sky-ripping fist, then deflects a punch from Saitama with water-streaming, rock-smashing fist, before sending the hero flying with exploding heart-release fist, followed by whirlwind, iron-cutting fist, then finally ending the combo with nuclear fission, gravity knuckle, that creates a massive atomic explosion, which is then absorbed into a singularity by the gravity knuckle. Standing amidst the smoke, Garou declares that his fists are unavoidable and that timing is irrelevant regarding his attacks. But to his shock, Saitama once again emerges completely unscathed, save for obviously being completely naked this time, as his costume was completely and utterly destroyed from Garou's attacks. And as he stands there, he replies to the hunter that he can do something very similar. Our bald king, the god himself, demonstrates this by digging his fingers into the ground with one hand, let me remind you, with one hand, and unleashes a new attack called Serious Table Flip, before flipping massive amounts of the moon's crust thousands of meters up into the air, taking Garou with it. The attack then utterly decimates the entirety of the freaking moon itself, unraveling it like an orange peel, all while Garou aimlessly and helplessly hurdles high into the air amongst the innumerable number of debris. Suddenly, Saitama dashes around Garou with incredible speed, creating hundreds of after images in the process, before he directs his after images and himself towards Garou simultaneously with another serious series called Omnidirectional Serious Punch. Garou instantly avoids the attack by jumping into a portal, only to see, much to his horror, that Saitama is already directly below him within his own portal he had just freaking opened, and proceeds to punch him with a serious punch. As the hit lands, it sends Garou flying and ricocheting off these slabs of stone, only for Saitama to follow up once again and punch him away as he is about to hit another slab. Saitama dashes around Garou back and forth with immeasurable speed, all while punching him across the entirety of the demolished surface of the moon, creating a full-on geometric surface of light from the intensity of the attacks. Garou then furiously repels Saitama's flurry of attacks with his water stream, rock-smashing fist, and lands on a large slab of debris. Garou attempts to regain his composure while needing to find a way to get above the rocks. He creates a portal only to have his head smashed into another slab of rock. Stunned, Garou realizes that Saitama's attack had completely warped his sense of direction, and now he utterly feels like a caged insect being played with by a child. Before he could react, he is suddenly attacked by another serious punch from Saitama. Garou is aghast by Saitama's limitless strength, but remains steadfast and declares that if he is to win against him, then he will need to continuously replicate his power and technique until he achieves victory. As he does this, he once again enters Mode Saitama, before he and the Caped Baldy both punch each other directly in the face. The battle continues as Garou throws a punch through a hyperspace portal that reaches Saitama on the other end, only for Saitama to quickly retaliate with a punch of his own. Instantly, as he is sent hurling backwards from Saitama's punch, Garou creates another portal behind him that redirects him behind Saitama, and uses his momentum to unleash an axe kick onto Saitama's head, only for the latter to simultaneously counter with a punch to Garou's guts. The punch sends Garou back into the portal, with the Hero Hunter then opening another portal and swiping back at Saitama, only to miss as our Bald King jumps backwards. He lands onto a large slab of debris, then leaps downwards with such an immense force that it destroys the slab, and follows with a monstrous karate chop straight to Garou's neck, which in turn devastates the surrounding area around them. The fight escalates as they move and dash about the decimated moon in an exchange of vicious blows. Garou is bewildered at the fact that despite countering him with just as much power, Saitama simply responds with even greater force than before. And yet I remind you, again, with just one hand as well. As Garou performs a powerful punch to Saitama's gut, the latter doesn't flinch and counters with an uppercut that sends Garou flying into the air. It is then explained through the shocked Garou that Saitama's growth in power and strength continuously rises at an exponential rate, with his own strength struggling to keep up, leading him to realize that at this rate he could actually die from one of Saitama's punches. Saitama's strength soars due to an upsurge of emotion from him trying to kill Genos earlier. Garou, now slowly falling behind, dashes around with incredible speed, preparing for an attack. Saitama, meanwhile, only realizes that now his costume had been completely blown off, and it actually started to get cold. An enraged Garou attempts to throw a punch at Saitama, but the Bald King casually grabs it without even looking. Due to the cold, Saitama was about to sneeze, which forces Garou to instinctively evade, and honestly, he's goddamn lucky he chose to, as Saitama unleashes a serious sneeze that not only parts a large portion of the moon's floating debris, but also utterly annihilates and clears an enormous mass of Jupiter's atmosphere and weather system, revealing the small, supposedly solid surface of the planet. Like, this is actually so insane. The utter mass that is on that planet is ridiculous. In actual reality, we don't even know if the surface exists. We haven't even been able to get something down there. I have no idea how to even scale the force of this ability. Like, it's so freaking unfathomable to me. It's that insane. The display of power leaves Garou in shock, all the while they rocket away from the moon and Jupiter due to the force of Saitama's sneeze. As they soar through space, Garou notices the sun, then using his enhanced vision and perception, he is able to make out a clear vision of the Earth, which allows him to teleport there. Just before doing so, in an attempt to escape, he threw a nuclear fission punch directly at Saitama, giving him the opportunity to escape and finally return to Earth via his portal. After escaping, Garou celebrates his return and presumed victory, only to instantly discover, to his horror, that Saitama was already right behind him, complimenting his last move. Bewildered, Garou questions Saitama on how he managed to return, to which Saitama replies by saying that the coldness of space had given him such a stomach ache, and while he was initially holding it in, Garou's last attack surprised him and made him literally shit himself back through Garou's portal. As the fight now kicks back off, Saitama punches Garou directly in the face and sends the two rocketing back down towards Earth's surface. As they crash land, our Baldy's punch shatters Garou's Mode Saitama, leaving him with his normal human face, now appearing battered and bruised. Seemingly defeated now, Garou asks why Saitama won't kill him. Our hero responds that it is because he is a hero, and in addition to that, it was also Tario's final request to stop him without killing him. Garou pauses when he hears the words "final request." And sadly, as he looks over to his side, he sees Tario's dead body, who had succumbed to the radiation earlier on. Garou screams in utter despair, but quickly attempts to run away upon realizing that he was too close to Tario, but stumbles and falls to the ground. Seeing Tario's dead body, as well as the Earth's desolate landscape, Garou sorrowfully realized that he indeed is that ominous future. Saitama standing there only wonders why Garou has been acting so strange ever since he first appeared in his cosmic fear mode. Curious, Saitama asks if someone truly did make him the way he is now, but Garou only solemnly replies that if that is the case, then it was because his spirit was weak. I honestly love Garou's character development throughout this fight and just the series in general. It's really good, and I recommend anyone just to go back and read the entire point from the moment he comes in, because he's like the main character from that moment to like probably right up till now. Garou continues to despair as he sees that if he cannot beat Saitama, then he can never truly become absolute evil. Even so, Garou would have been satisfied if Saitama killed him the way he envisioned heroes killed all of their villains, and that way, his legacy of being true evil would linger onward. Moreover, he only meant to save the likes of Tario with his ideals, but Saitama cuts him off and says that Garou only clung to Tario for support. Garou was prepared to angrily retort, but upon seeing that Saitama was still holding onto Genos' core, he realized that even him, with all of his insane power and strength, still needs something that would help him hold on to reality and keep fighting. When Saitama asks Garou what he's going to do now, Garou somberly asks Saitama for a favor. The favor involves Garou wanting Saitama to copy his martial arts, knowing that Saitama will be able to use them to their fullest potential with his limitless power. Garou will pass on his most powerful martial arts technique, which he has not performed even with God's power at his disposal. Saitama then agrees, and Garou prepares to transfer his ultimate technique to Saitama, as he knows that he would be the only person able to resist God using its own power. Suddenly, the one they call God silences Garou and begins to siphon his power and life, which subsequently begins to make Garou's body break down into salt, which is like, kind of random, man, like why salt? As Garou fully transfers the cosmic rays within himself into Saitama, he says his final words to the caped baldy, stating that he is the only one who can truly defeat the impending, ominous future that is awaiting him, before he fully perishes and his body crumbles into salt. Okay, Takamichi, please sit down. Now we got Saitama time traveling back for his bestie. As time travels backwards in time, Saitama sees all of the instances of their battle and is left in utter amazement at the beauty of Garou's technique. When he spots the moment when Garou declares himself as that ominous future to the heroes of the Hero Association, Saitama takes this as his cue and punches through it. Back in reality, as Garou looks at the sky, thanking the god that had just given him the strength, randomly and literally out of freaking nowhere, Saitama appears and thumps Garou with an infinitely strong hook to his freaking dome. It's explained that because of the insanity of the training Saitama's punch underwent on the moon, it had gifted him the ability to technically reverse time and thus land his strike before it even released. And reverse causality is impossible to dodge. Thus, it was not one punch that decided the fight. No, it was a zero punch. As the present heroes watch in amazement, a shocked Garou realizes that his power is beginning to escape his wounded body.
Here, it quickly pops away from Garou and him losing his powers to Saitama and Genos reuniting and discussing everything that had just happened. I actually love the wall of text that Genos hits Saitama with, explaining the happenings from during his own damn battle. Of course, he doesn't remember it because once the two, bodies clash back together, the current timeline Saitama's brain took precedent and ruled out the old timeline from his brain. Once they finish up talking though, we return to Garou, who now, after losing his power from God through Saitama's punch, Garou finds himself weakened and surrounded by several heroes. Elsewhere, Tario suddenly gets up, awakened by a vision of Garou before it fades away. Sitting there, he hears a ruckus nearby and walks over to it. Closing in, he sees some of the lower ranked heroes beating up an injured Garou who offers no resistance. Metal Bat steps in and demands that they stop. Livid, Sweet Mask mentions on how Garou had gone berserk earlier and that Garou will kill them if nothing is done to him. Angered, the A-class hero proclaims that as a monster, Garou must be executed, something that Metal Bat and Saitama disagree to.
When Saitama asks everyone who's responsible for Garou's defeat, Flashy Flash states that a naked man appeared out of nowhere and struck the hero hunter once before flying away, and that the movement was similar to something that Blast does. Hearing this, Sweet Mask and Sekinga are surprised to hear that Blast had got involved in the battle. Genos tells Saitama that he has the lone right to decide how to deal with Garou. Although Saitama intends to let the other heroes beat him up until they're satisfied, Zombie Man approaches and asks Garou about his strength source, knowing that an earlier cadre had once spoken about God before his unexpected death. Garou laughs and claims that he alone is responsible, refusing the idea that a god could have ever helped him. As Zombie Man wonders if the hero hunter no longer has the desire to live, Sweet Mask prepares to kill him, but is suddenly stopped by Tario, who calls out to the heroes for beating on Garou, explaining that he was saved by him several times and begging for Garou to flee while he still can. Amai takes this as Garou luring a child, but Tario utterly denies this. He calmly states that all of the heroes will civilly treat Garou, but Amai just asks him to step aside. Tario, though, instead repeats his words, saying that they won't execute him. As the heroes argue over Garou's fate, a powerful rumbling suddenly travels through the air. Of course, it's revealed to be our man with his King's engine running at full pump, absolutely silencing everyone. Bang speaks up and states that he will not let Garou get away with life so easily, telling him that he must make up for his poor actions by saving others now. While Garou stays quiet, Saitama ironically expresses saving people is what absolute evil is actually good at. Garou tells Saitama he will regret letting him go, but the Cape Baldy replies that he won't, even adding his thanks to him for saving Genos and King from Platinum S and Evil Natural Water Monster earlier. While standing there, King recalls how Saitama and he spoke about how to deal with Garou, with the former revealing that it was Garou who ended up rescuing him and Genos earlier. Before vanishing from sight though, Garou tells the Cape Baldy that he disgusts him, much to everyone's shock. Later on now, and at a police station, an officer interrogates Garou, asking if he regrets having dined and dashed at a restaurant. Remember like way back at the beginning of this arc when he did that? When he doesn't answer the question and instead talks about his beliefs, Bang knocks him from behind, getting him back on track. Just hilarious. I love these two, man. After leaving the police station, Bang tells Garou that he must apologize to the victims of his hero hunt, much to Garou's annoyance. Garou expresses his wish to spar with the heroes he once fought as a monster, which includes Bang. Garou believes that by battling them again, it is possible for him to reach some kind of awakening without monsterizing. As the master and disciple continue strolling around elsewhere, Bang soon asks Garou which type of girls he likes, which is a banger JJK line for real. Although Garou is taken aback by his master asking such a question, he eventually answers that he fancies Kero, an actress from a Super Sentai show. And after a while, the two begin a discussion about the current state of Sentai shows.
So, that there officially brings us to the very end of Garou's perspective, or his kind of like point of view from throughout One Punch Man's Monster Association arc here. Obviously, if you all have enjoyed the video, then make sure you do leave a like, as it really helps out with pushing my content to a bunch of new amazing people, and just lets me know that you guys want more videos like this and everything. I haven't ever done a perspective or just someone's sole timeline from throughout a large arc like this, but with just how much everyone enjoyed the Monster Association arc that I put up like a month and a half ago now up on my channel, probably even a little bit longer actually, I can't even remember, it's that bad. I thought I'd release, just Garou's perspective, as it's kind of cool seeing how one specific character, especially Garou, who takes that role as almost the main character throughout this arc, like he literally has the most screen time by far, and seeing, like what he gets up to and what he does, and just experiencing it from his point of view. Garou pretty much fights every single character that like each S-class person individually fights, but he fights them by himself, and it's just insane to think, like, when it started out, I don't even know if you'd be able to call him like an S-class hero at that point. Like, he was probably verging on that level of strength and everything, but throughout this arc here, obviously he just grew and grew and grew to the point that he was unrecognizable from the person he initially was. Like, he turns into Cosmic Garou right there at the end after he gets given power by God, and he literally is unrecognizable. I'd love to know what your guys' favorite moment from throughout, like Garou's point of view here was, or his favorite battle against a specific person. Did you like how he was just like constantly trying to save Tario, or his massive power up against Saitama at the very end there, or perhaps, some of his earlier on battles that he had against even Monster King Orochi? Not that it went too well for him, but it's just cool seeing, the different forms of Garou and the different personalities that he kind of has along the way. I'd love to know all your thoughts and everything down below, obviously. Of course, if you do want to support me even one step further, then you can go over and check out my Patreon, where I release like pretty much all of my videos a day or two, sometimes hours earlier than I will release them here on YouTube, but they're usually always released earlier there on the Patreon before I release them here on YouTube. It just depends, like how my own time schedule is laying out and everything. And if something happens, I usually will let you know on the Patreon. Anyway, either way, enough of me rambling on as per usual. For now, it's been your professional degenerate Diavolo, and I will see you all in a bit. Bye.